What is love? Not the kind found in fleeting glances or whispered promises, but the love that births galaxies, that dissolves the self, that becomes God. This is the untold story of love. A story too vast for words, too deep for logic. From the aching devotion of Meera to the burning madness of Majnu, from a mother's silent sacrifice to a lover's eternal surrender. Love is not something we understand. It is something we become. And when we do, we don't just find the beloved, we find ourselves. In this journey, we'll explore the sacred, the painful, the divine, and discover how true love doesn't just connect souls, it sets them free. Because in the end, love is God, and God is love. Let the untold story begin.
Today's discourse is on love, the untold story of love. Love is so deep, so unfathomable, that truly understanding it or reaching its essence is beyond expression. It's a story that cannot be told, the untold story of love. First, we must try to understand what is love. There hasn't been a single person in this world who has completely understood love. You say to your child, "I love you," but can you truly explain what love is? You see a flower and say, "It's so beautiful, I love it," but again, what is love? Understanding love is difficult, perhaps impossible. And to speak of it, to define it in words, is even more impossible. That is why Jesus the Christ said, "God is love." Love is God. He himself couldn't fully explain love, so he equated it with God. We cannot fully comprehend God, and in the same way, we cannot truly comprehend love. But we can drown in love, we can enjoy it. Just as we can immerse ourselves in God's music, in divine joy, yet still not know who or what God is, love is just the same. It is beyond definition, beyond words. We talk about love often. We say, "I love this person," but what is love? Putting it into words is impossible. You can feel it, experience the joy of divine union, lose yourself in the presence of God, but still not know who or what God is. And when love is God, then everything around us, the greenery, the oceans, the sky, the moon and stars, all of it is made by the divine. And all of it is love. Seeing all this, we can divide love into three parts. Love for family, love for nature, and love for the divine. You love your children, your siblings, your family, but what is love? You still don't know. You love nature because you find it beautiful. You walk through a rose garden, smell the roses, and enjoy it, but what exactly is the fragrance of a rose? You cannot explain. You take joy in singing God's praises, you get absorbed in spiritual stories, but what is God? You do not know. If we go deeper into this, when we say, God is love, what is God? That remains the ultimate mystery. In English, the word God has a deeper symbolic meaning. G stands for generator, the one who creates you, who gives you birth. O stands for operator, the one who runs your life, takes care of you. D stands for destroyer, the one who merges you back into nature. In other words, God is the Trinity. Brahma the generator, Vishnu the operator, and Shiva the destroyer, who dissolves you back into the elements. Now if you compare this with love, it becomes even more profound. When you truly love someone, you are ready to give your very life for them. Look anywhere in life, true love always ends in surrender. Even with your own child, no matter how much you love them, if something were to happen to them, you wouldn't hesitate to give up your life. So it becomes clear, just as God is, so is love. You give birth to a child in your home, you raise them, and you're ready to sacrifice yourself for them. If something happens to your child, you won't hold back. God is the same way. He gives you birth, He nurtures you, and when the time comes, He merges you back into Himself. So just like God, love too is a sacred cycle. Let's look at it another way. In an atom, there are neutrons, protons, and electrons. The neutron is neutral, no charge, that represents Brahma, the one who brings you into the world. The proton is positive energy, that's Vishnu, the one who supports and sustains you. The electron is negative energy, that's Shiva, the one who eventually absorbs you into the greater whole. So just as God is, the atom is, and in the same way, so is love. When you love someone deeply, you are not afraid of dissolving into them, becoming nothing in the end feels natural. There is a small story. King Humayun loved his son dearly. His son was his entire life. He provided every comfort possible to his child. But when the son grew up, he fell seriously ill. The king did everything he could, brought in the best physicians, the best care, but nothing worked. When all worldly options failed, he turned to God, prayed with devotion, but even then, it seemed God wasn't listening. Finally, when he had nowhere left to turn, he cried out from the depths of his soul, "O Lord, take my life instead. Spare my son, my beloved." He staked his life for love. When he was ready to offer even his own life, God had no choice left. Slowly, the father began to fall ill, and in turn, his son began to heal. Love remained, but the father became one with the divine. For love, you can give up anything, even your own life. But even then, you don't really know what love is. You may have read or heard about the life of Meera Bai. Her devotion and love for Lord Krishna were so intense that she lived inside the temple itself in Vrindavan. Her family made many efforts to bring her back home, but she went to Lord Krishna and said, "Absorb me into your love. Let me dissolve in you." And the story goes, she disappeared into the idol of Lord Krishna, as if her form merged with his. Such is the nature of true love, it merges you into itself. Until you become one with love, you remain deprived of its true bliss. Love is a supreme state of being. Sant Kabir once said, "ढाई आखर प्रेम के, पढ़े सो पंडित होए." One who learns the 2.5 letters of love becomes truly wise. If you understand just this simple truth of love, you understand everything. You merge into the divine, no further study is needed. Now let's look at love in English, made up of 4 letters, L-O-V-E. Each letter holds a deep meaning. L stands for listening. If you love God, you listen to every scripture, every song, every whisper that speaks of Him. You'll tune your ears to divine songs, to sacred study. O stands for observing. You'll begin to observe God, to witness Him. You'll become aware of His presence everywhere. V stands for venture. Once you've listened and observed, you'll begin to walk the path with Him. You'll take risks, you'll share your life with Him, you'll venture alongside Him. E stands for evolution. When you become one with God, when your witnessing and His melody become one, you evolve. Your fragrance becomes the fragrance of the divine. To evolve means, your essence, your energy becomes one with God's. When that happens, you are no longer you. You and the divine become one. Just as God contains the generator, operator, and destroyer. Your soul too dissolves into that divine trinity, into Shiva consciousness. So in truth, there is no difference between love and God. Love means union. Love means merging with the divine. And only in this union does a true fragrance arise in life. Sant Kabir also said, "Prem gali ati sankari, tame do na samaye." The path of love is so narrow, that two cannot walk it together. In this narrow lane of love, there is no space for two. Only one can remain. And when you finally become one with God, then comes complete surrender. You may have heard the story of Rumi. He wrote a beautiful and profound tale of love. A young man loved a young woman deeply, so deeply that he could not stay away from her. She lived far away, yet he made the long journey to see her. When he arrived at her door, he knocked gently. From inside, she asked, "Who is it?" He replied, "It is I." She didn't open the door. He waited for a long time, but when she didn't respond, he left, disheartened. Years later, he returned. Once again, he came to her door and knocked. She asked again, "Who is it?" This time he replied, "It is you." Even then, the door remained closed. He left once more, heartbroken. After many more years, he returned yet again. he came to the door and knocked. She asked, "Who is it?" This time, he answered, "It is us. We are one." Meaning, he no longer remained just himself, he had dissolved into her. Like ice turning to water and then steam, he had completely transformed. There was no I or you left, only we. And then, the young woman opened the door. That is why Sant Kabir said, "The path of love is so narrow, two cannot walk it together." Only when both become one, does union with the divine happen. You've also heard the story of Shah Jahan, how deeply he loved Mumtaz. They had 14 children together, and still, his heart was not full, his love remained insatiable. When Mumtaz died, Shah Jahan was so grief-stricken, so drowned in sorrow, that he couldn't bear the pain. Out of that overwhelming love and longing, he poured all his wealth and resources into building a unique monument, the Taj Mahal. A symbol of love so rare that the world has not seen its equal. Millions of people still travel to witness this symbol of eternal love. It is a creation that holds no comparison. And those artisans who built the Taj Mahal, their hands and legs were cut off afterward, so that they could never recreate such beauty again. That's how deep love can be. A person in love forgets even their own humanity, and desires only that their beloved should remain, their memory should remain, and everything else in the world can disappear. You must have heard the name of Laila and Majnu. Majnu was so madly in love with Laila that even a moment without her was unbearable. He would roam her streets just to catch a glimpse of her. Majnu was an extremely attractive young man, but Laila had no physical beauty at all. When the king of that region found out that such a handsome man was in love with an ordinary-looking girl, he summoned Majnu. He said, "There are so many beautiful girls in my palace. Choose any one of them, and I will arrange your marriage." Majnu replied, "You may be right, but you do not understand. You must see Laila through my eyes. Then you will see her beauty. There is no woman in this world more beautiful than her." He didn't see her physical form, he saw her soul. He saw that his soul and Laila's soul were one. That's what made him so madly in love with her, a depth of love most worldly people can never even imagine. Look at Shah Jahan again. He was so madly in love with Mumtaz that even after 14 children, he wasn't satisfied. He gave up everything for her. So it becomes clear, love has no limit. No matter how much you speak about love, it's never enough. Take a seed, for example. You plant it in the earth, it is surrounded by darkness, nourished by spiritual force and cosmic energy. As the seed's shell breaks open, it unites with the void of the soil, almost like a spiritual union. And from that sacred union, a plant is born. The plant grows, becomes a tree, gives flowers and fruits, and from those, millions of new seeds are created. The seed loved the earth, and from that love, such abundance was born that the world became filled with flowers and fruits. Such is the expansion of love, you can't even fathom it. From one seed, millions of seeds arise, and from those, countless more. Love is endless. It is untellable, a story beyond words. When a mother becomes pregnant, a divine consciousness enters her womb as the power of the universe. In 9 months, a child is born. The mother loves that child so deeply, she stays awake night after night, gives her everything to care for the baby. Even then, she is not satisfied. Whatever wealth or possessions the parents have, they are willing to surrender it all for their child. And they do it with such love that they never even think about what they might receive in return. Love only knows how to give. Love does not expect anything in return. Whoever you love, you can give your entire being for them. And whoever is truly loved, that love leads you to liberation. Love itself is liberation. Because when you surrender everything to love, you are already free. Love is a state of freedom, and it leads you to the ultimate freedom. When you truly love, you may not even want to return to this world again. The feeling of love has no end, it is infinite. You may have heard of a plant that only grows near water, it is called nursing. It is a very healthy, thriving plant. When it looks at its reflection in the water, it feels delighted, thinking, "How beautiful I am! How magnificent I look!" So all its seeds also fall near water, and thousands of similar plants grow around it. It keeps seeing its own image in the water, and because of that, it begins to love itself deeply. You can only love that which reflects you, in which you see your own self. If you don't see your reflection in someone, you can't truly love them. Not every person can love every woman. One only loves that woman in whom he sees his own reflection. A person sees himself through the eyes of another. Just as you see yourself in the eyes of your child, a young man sees his beloved's eyes as a mirror of his own soul, and that is why he can love her. This is the dilemma of love. When love happens in this form, it often brings attachment. And when attachment takes root, we are unable to rise to the higher state where the fragrance of God begins to spread. Love, at times, can also narrow your perspective. It can make you so narrow that even when the one you love does something wrong, you still stand by them blindly. Where there is the greatness of love, there can also be a lower state of love, where love turns into mere attachment. Attachment is a limited, constricted version of love. In this world, lust is often mistaken for love. People rarely rise above lust. The one who does not confuse lust with love, who understands that lust is only the first step, knows that the next step is the meeting of hearts. First, the minds connect, then the hearts, and finally, just through eye contact, you begin to feel. My love is not just mine. My love is what exists within their heart. Their soul is my soul. When love reaches this state, it becomes divine love. This kind of love has no end. But if love remains at a worldly level, it becomes mostly physical and at best, mental. However, the love of God begins with love, deepens into devotion, and then, through devotion, slowly leads you to the state of wisdom. When love transforms into devotion, it rises above breath. You desire to become one with the divine. You want to drown in that devotion. And as you do, your mind dissolves. Once the mind dissolves, your consciousness begins to expand. This is not the material love that one holds for a beloved or a child. This is divine love, love for the Supreme. This love is like steam merging with steam, air merging with air, becoming one. When your consciousness, like air, merges with the cosmic consciousness, you become one with it. This union itself is the complete surrender into God. Just as Radha merged with Krishna. If you read Radha's name in reverse, it becomes Dhara, meaning flow. Radha was the stream of divine love, and she became one with Krishna. In the same way, our consciousness, when expanded through divine love, takes the form of flowing devotion. From love, it becomes bhakti, a devotion, and from devotion, jnana, the wisdom, arises. This flow becomes so vast that it spreads throughout the universe. Just like the fragrance of divine devotion fills all space. Then Radha no longer remains. Only the presence of God remains, only His fragrance. When human consciousness merges with divine consciousness, it expands so greatly that it becomes like the divine, becoming one with the entire cosmos. This is the highest state of love. Love begins with lust, but as it rises, and if it reaches a state where the lover and beloved become one, it goes beyond the physical. If this state is reached with the divine, then it is no longer physical, it becomes a state of consciousness. In that state, you unite with the cosmic awareness. If we can reach that state, then only can we truly understand the deepest essence of love. Only then can we see how greatly we've expanded, like the form of Shiva. Just as everything merges into Shiva, so too does our consciousness merge into Shivatva, the essence of Shiva. The ultimate form of love is Shivatva, and when we merge into that, on one hand, we attain liberation. On the other, we become Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, truth, divinity, and beauty. We attain moksha, the liberation, and are released from the cycle of birth and death. Because love is God, and God is love. And this is the simplest and most direct path to union with the divine. There is no higher state than love. There is no easier means by which we can realize God. The expansion of love should be the goal of life. And through that expansion, we become one with the love of the universe. That's why it is said, love is God, God is love. And this is the most beautiful and auspicious state. The one that leads us to union with God. To remain in that union, to become one with the divine, is the supreme peace of life. So, this is the untold story of love. Union with God is love. To become one with the divine, that is love. There is no higher state than this. Thank you.